I'm a Pennsylvanian. This is my Scout, and this is Coffee Stop. Hey everyone, I'm Chris with Pennsylvanian Scout, and welcome to the first coffee stop from Texas. Yes, that's right, Texas. Beautiful state. The riding experience is a lot different than Lake of the Ozarks, or Pennsylvania for that matter. These roads are mostly straight. Mostly. And the speed limit is 70 miles an hour right outside the gate. So it's a much different riding experience. But first, the coffee for this week is from the coffee grinder located inside the H-E-B in Granbury. And it is the Bourbon Street Costa Rican. It's a whole bean dark roast from Costa Rica, and it's delicious. Absolutely delicious. I love coffee. So, this week I'd like to talk about a couple of things. First, group riding, and then getting back in the saddle after a serious incident. And then I don't know, probably not much. That'll cover everything I want to cover. But Betsy needed her 15,000 mile service, and the nearest Indian dealership to where I am is the Fort Worth Indian Motorcycle, which is a fantastic place. The people there are incredibly friendly and welcoming, which was very different from my experience with another dealership in Missouri. But the guys over at Fort Worth Indian Motorcycle are fantastic. If you guys are in the area, stop in and just talk to them. They're great. Very helpful. Like to talk, see what you're up to, what's going on. But anyway, Betsy needed her 15,000 mile service. So I spent a day walking around Fort Worth. And even then, it was mostly just not the touristy area. We'll put it that way. It was a long day of walking. A lot of miles. But while I was there, they brought up the idea of coming out for their Indian Motorcycle Riders Group. They get together every third Saturday of the month. And they're like, you should come out, meet some of the other riders, go on the group ride. I was like, I should. I've never done anything like that. I've never gone out to join a group ride. I've been riding solo. So I was like, yeah, I should. I get back here, and I realized that the third Saturday of the month was the very next Saturday. So like 2 days away. So I was like, all right, I get the weekends. I'm going to go do this. And it was really nice. I'm not going to lie. The people from the riding group were awesome. Like, I walked in and I'm just standing there. I talked to Kip, one of the guys who works there, and he's like, "Oh, hey, you made it out." I'm like, "Yeah, I did. I figured I should do it." But Kip told me where to put the toys because they're doing a toy drive, and then I'm just standing there, and I just walk up to another gentleman, and I start talking to him. He's one of the guys in the riding group. Well, then I have to get introduced to everybody, and they were really great people, really nice. Um, Spent a lot of time with one gentleman. I forgive me, everybody. I'm terrible with names, absolutely terrible with names. So I don't really have names to give you. But I was outside taking care of a bad habit, and another gentleman came up and we started talking about the bikes that were around us in the parking lot, other riders that were going to be on this group ride. And he's telling me about everybody and their bikes and the kind of rides they'd done, other kinds of rides I need to do while I'm here in Texas. You know, really great. So it comes time to leave for the ride, and we line up, and I end up towards the back. I've never been in a riding group. Don't really know the etiquette. I know that I shouldn't be the last person in line, and I wasn't. But I also wasn't way up at the head of the pack. And I also know how to stack properly. The road captain is up front and the left. Then you got second and third and fourth and so on. We had 12 riders, which was really awesome. It was really cool with 12 bikes. But we're going, and there's only one other scout in our riding group. And it's a 2015. I mean, this is an old scout. Betsy is a little bit younger, but it was an old scout, and you could tell. But the gentleman on it must have just gotten back in the saddle after an accident. I say that because he was very afraid. He came across as very afraid of the of turning, of banking into the turns. There were some things that you're not supposed to do in a turn on a motorcycle that he was doing. But this group ride, we start off, and it was the weirdest thing not stopping for stop signs. Weirdest thing. But as the riding group, you go as one unit. You are one thing. So we'd make our stop, and then the whole group would go. And it was that way for a while. We get onto these wonderful back roads. Absolutely amazing back roads. They followed a set of train tracks. We actually had to stop for the train. So, Joe, I'm sorry. I did not bring my camera, so I don't have trains to show the kids. I'll go back there and film it so that there are trains to show the kids. I've got you covered. But we're taking this wonderful road. Winding, speed limits are varying from 45 to 65. And I can see the other scout rider, and I can see while we're going into turns, he's coming out of his lane position. He was one of the even numbers, so he was on the right side of the lane. He needs to be in lane position 3. So for you guys, here's lane position 1, here's lane position 2, here's lane position 3. When you're riding in a group, lane position 1 and lane position 3, and you stagger. But he's in lane position 3, and we go into a turn, and he's ahead of me, because, again, I'm almost dead end Charlie. And I can see that he's braking in the turn. You don't brake on a motorcycle while you're in a turn. That is incredibly unsafe. It's dangerous. You don't do it. If anything, you roll off the throttle or roll on the throttle. But he was braking while turning. And as we went further along, he was struggling to keep up with the lead in the pack, and another rider passed him. I was like, I didn't know you could do that. But another one of the riders passed him. And then once he realized, once he checked and saw that the guy on the Scout acknowledged he was up there, they switched their lane position. I was like, okay. We go along a little bit further, And there's another bank. And the scout rider, again, all over the road. Now, these are not sharp turns. There's no reason for us to break formation and go single file around these turns. We're not riding that fast. These curves are not that drastic. So we should have just kept the file. But the one gentleman, all over. We get onto another straight, and the gap increases, and the rider behind this gentleman moves up in the file. Now it's just the other scout, me and Betsy, and the guy riding Dead End Charlie, and he's way back. And there it is, more banks. And the other scout rider went over the double yellow in a turn. He was braking in the turn. I didn't see him downshift. I saw him brake. Which, for me, going into a turn that requires a lot, you downshift, you keep the throttle up, and then you roll off as you start in. And once you get in, you roll on, and out you go. Always make sure your head is looking where you're going. It's the safe, proper way to do it. And that's not what I was watching. But I felt bad for him. I really did. He was scared. I mean, if you need stability on a bike, it's like riding a horse. You squeeze your legs together around the tank. You don't put your knee out in a turn. I mean, we're not on sport bikes in some sort of race. Your knee stays against the tank. But his knees were out. His turns were stiff. He would keep his body upright in a turn, which when you're going at speed, you don't do. But we ended up off of the winding roads, and we started on to the straight, and I shouldn't say narrow, but the straight country roads. And it took us along I-20, and there's the ramp off the highway, the road we're on, and then another ramp onto the highway. But there's a car that comes in, and he's signaling, but our riding group is going past. The one scout rider is still got an excessive distance between him and the next rider. The car cut into our riding group and then got out of it, but a car passed through our riding group. Another no-no. But after we got through that situation, we got off of the access road, I guess you'd call it, near I-20, and we got on to one of the country roads, farm to market roads. And off we went again. And for a while, our group was pretty cohesive. And then we started getting into some gentle banks, and the distance started creeping in. Now again, my first time in a riding group, I don't know the etiquette. I also didn't want to pass this guy. He already had two other riders pass him, and I'm the only other scout rider. I don't want to pass him. I wanted to make sure that I kept the safe distance and I could keep an eye on him. And that's what I did. I just kept pace. And when we had the long straights and he started putting some balls behind it, I would put some balls behind it too, so that he could look. And obviously, we're checking mirrors. So he could see in his mirror that I was right there with him, and off we'd go to catch up. I'm checking my mirror to see Dead End Charlie's still back there, keeping the safe distance in case something goes on up ahead. But we made it to our destination, and It really was. It really was a fun ride. It was great. It was nice to ride in a group like that. I'd never done it before. I want to do it again. I'm going to do it again. They were really fun people. A lot of veterans. I was the youngest person, and I'm not even that young, guys. Not. Hmm. But it was a great time. I had a lot of fun doing it. I cannot be upset with the other scout rider. He's getting back in the saddle. Because once we had gotten to our destination, which was Garcia's here in Granbury, the other people who are actually members of the Fort Worth Indian Motorcycle Riders group, they were talking and checking with him and saying like, hey, how was it? You feeling all right? Was it comfortable? What's going on? And he was filling them in like, here's where I was having problems and here's what's going on. And it was a very supportive group. They were great people. But he was getting back in the saddle. And I learned that when we got to our destination. He had been in an accident and he was getting back into it. And that is a powerful thing. That's a great thing. It's something that you have to do. If you have a terrible experience, regardless of what kind of experience, if you have a terrible experience, get back in it, do it again. Because if you don't, you're not going to. I know with the bike, I've had a couple of dicey days where people cut me off. My ride from home to Cape May and back again, on the ride back, getting caught in that storm with New Jersey drivers on a New Jersey highway where no one follows the speed limit. And if you're actually unable to see on a motorcycle, no one cares because, hey, they're going to cut you off within 3 feet and get you all the spray from their tires. So you can't see even more. Situations like that, the ones that make you go, what am I doing? Or a situation where you get injured while doing something you love. You need to get back up and do it. That's the only way to get past it. It's the same with horse riders. You get thrown from the saddle. What do? You get back in the saddle. We have saddles on motorcycles. You get back in the saddle. And that gentleman was doing that. And that's great. That's something that you have to do. But yes, riding in a group was a lot of fun. And I plan on doing it even more. I've covered the subjects, and it was cohesive. Huzzah! Mm. Short little fun bits. The first weekend I had free down here, my uncle told me about these nice roads to ride, and I went to ride them. I actually recorded this ride because it was the day I went to Mineral Wells, but I started the day going to a local road that was a nice winding road that my uncle was like, yeah, you're going to love this. I did love that road. And thankfully, I know how to ride on gravel because the last 12 miles of that road were gravel. So, that was a good first introduction to the area. I have not been on a gravel road since, but I'm going to go back to that road because apparently I missed something, and I'll see if I have it in my footage from that day, but I haven't checked. I only went into the footage from that day to find the guy who just went wow on his bike when he saw my camera, and that was hilarious in the recording. So, what else do we got? Got new stuff for my vest, and quite obviously a new hat. Don't worry, it will break in. It's just very stiff right now. Very stiff. I'm working on breaking it in. It'll eventually be what it's supposed to be. But I'm very happy with this hat. But the new things on the vest, quite clearly, we got a nice new Indian patch that's going over here on the accomplishment side because that's where I've got my mileage. I have to order mileage tabs, and I think I'm just going to get them sent to the Fort Worth Indian dealership so that I can go there and pick them up next time I'm out there for a group ride. So I'm going to order my 10,000 mile patches because I've gone 10,000 miles. They don't make a 15, so I can't really put a 15. I was going to, but they don't make a 15,000 miles. The next one is 25,000, and I'm just going to order those because I've only been to 2 dealerships that have these mileage tabs. I don't know. You could probably see it right there. The out of time license plate from Back to the Future. I have gone 88 miles an hour and sustained that speed because I had to. So, if I were in a DeLorean, I'd be back in 1955. Or, according to the logic of Back to the Future, I'd be in 1995. Or would it be 85? 30 years. Yeah, it'd be 95. I'd be back in 1995. But I'm not. I'm still here in 2025. But we got the accomplishment patch. Because that's what this is about. Let's see. I replaced my pirate gold. I'm not going to paint it gold this time, but I had to get a replacement. I lost the other one up in Missouri. But that's all I got for now, guys. Leave a like if you liked this video. This is the longest running and continuous series on the channel. Subscribe if you haven't, clearly. And what else do we get? There's like follow or hit the notification bell. I do plan on doing a lot more in the way of videos. I'm working on one right now where it's Bike Week. I'm using Lake of the Ozark Bike Week footage, but it's going to be a been there, done that. So it'll be one subject in the video. Give me ideas for what you want to see in a been there, done that video. I have a ton of footage that I have no idea what to do with, and I can go through it and find specific things like Main Street or bridges or what you'll see this week when Been There, Done That comes out. Just scouting. Give me an idea of what you'd want to see there. I don't know. Find a road for me to ride in Texas. Yes, I know about the 3 Twisted Sisters. Yes, I will get there. But not yet. Not yet. That's something that I want to plan because that'll be a weekend thing, and that's not now. We got too much stuff to do here on the farm. So, no, not yet. But I will get there before I leave Texas. Rest assured. Other than that, guys, I got nothing for you. Again, I'm Chris with Pennsylvania Scout. This is Betsy Ross, and we'll catch yous next time.